information.
All right, so you're being recorded, so I interrupted you.
That's fine.
And Kim has just joined us as well.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead, and Yoko as well. Give me a little more background of what you're looking for, and that way I can tailor my presentation to your needs.
So basically we're looking, we've started using Streamer intermittently with some of our students just to see how it works and try it out. Primarily, we are using it with student touchscreens. So that is the primary microphone, and interfacing it with that. Most of us have very limited experience with Streamer. And so just understanding better how to use it and the best way to use it to get the best transcriptions, I think. And I think everybody probably has a few questions to ask you about it just based on our limited experience. And then how we could maybe roll it out on a larger scale, or, you know, how best to use it for our students. So
yeah.
I remember particularly, I set this up because you and Kim and we worked with a student, and you walked us through basically the Streamer software on how to like set up some shortcuts, how to access things in there that are not really that easy to use. So it's not super user friendly sometimes. So it was just nice for you to walk us through some of that stuff so we know how to use it.
Yeah. And mostly we're talking students that are DHH, or are we also talking language issues?
DHH.
You know, like Ukrainian or Spanish or something like that.
No, but DHH primarily. I suppose it could be, you know, extended to different kids, but that's what we work with. You're talking to audiologists and itinerant teachers of the deaf today.
Okay. All right.
I think there are sometimes DHH kids in, say, a Spanish class or different language classrooms too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, we can. So a lot to cover. What's our time frame?
I set the meeting for an hour. So
oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, we can go over lots of things. I'm not going to go over slides. I have a bunch of PowerPoint slides, but let's just do live demos. I think we're recording this, and so at any point, if you have any questions, interrupt me. So etiquette wise, feel free to just barge in, because otherwise I tend to start rambling, and I am totally comfortable with you just barging in at any time. Okay.
Yep.
And so kind of moving screens around here, you know, Zoom clutters your desktop with all sorts of stuff. So let me clear it up a little bit. So where to start? So you kind of know, you're kind of familiar with Streamer, but let's just go ahead and start at the very beginning. So I'm going to sign out of this account. And the way that people use Streamer, there are no URL codes or barcodes that you need to scan, or invite codes or things that you need to do to use like Zoom. There are no apps that you need to download and install, so you don't have to go to your IT people and get permission to do that. All you do is ideally open up a Chrome browser and go to streamer.center, which is listed up here. So www.streamer.center, and then you're going to log in using an account. So with your school district, we should have one main admin account. You mentioned, you know, kind of broader picture, being able to roll this out to a lot of students. And so what we'll have is one main admin account that is all powerful and all knowledgeable and can do everything. With a secure system, you always need one account that can kind of do everything. But I'm going to log in.
Robert,
go ahead.
would it be helpful to log in using our main account, because we have one? You helped us set that up.
If you want me to, I can. I don't know what it is or what the password is.
So Kim might have it. Let me look.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
It is Seattle Schools, no space, dash admin. And the password is 123456789.
Okay, we're going to change that password. But yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and try that then.
And while we're signing in, if I can ask, how many people, like, let's say we have one admin account, right? But let's say one person at another school and another person at another school wanted to sign into the admin account in order to check the classrooms and make sure that they were functioning properly. Can more than one person be signed into the admin account at a time, or is it
Yeah.
only one at a time?
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. We don't recommend you do that, but you could.
Okay.
You could share that password, and a lot of schools do that. They share a single admin account with multiple people, so that's absolutely fine. But you can create, if you will, duplicate admin accounts. So let's say, for example, for example, how many schools do you have in your district, roughly?
108.
108 schools. So let's say that the 88th school, whatever it is, you want to set up an admin just for that school, you could do that. And so when they log into their account, they're only going to see the rooms associated with their school versus all the other schools in the district. And bottom line, let me kind of state this one right up front. With Streamer, whatever you want to do, odds are really good you can do it. And so as you indicated earlier, there's sort of these hidden commands and stuff. It's hard to expose everything because there's just so much there. So if you ever get in a position where you'd say, oh, this would be great if only, give us a call, because odds are we can do that. But back to your question, yes, you can share the admin account with multiple people, and multiple people can simultaneously log in using that same admin account at the same moment. Okay. And you also have the ability to create duplicate admin accounts. So that way you're not sharing the password across everybody. All right. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. And so I've logged in now using your admin account. And so in order to use Streamer, what I'll do is free trial ends on May 5th. Let's see. Okay, that should be still good. So if I open up, do you care what's in here, or can I clear it?
Don't clear it, I think,
Don't?
because that might belong to a student. I don't know whose count that
Whose
is.
room is?
All right, so you've got two rooms here, both with content in, and I don't really want to look at student private information. So give me a second here.
Okay, if you want to log into your own account, that's fine. I just wanted everybody to see what that looked like, because if we had 10 students, we would have 10 rooms that would populate in here, correct? That we could take a look at and, you know, whatever.
Correct. And I'm going to do something. I'm going to just do something here so we can do. Come on, computer. Poor computer is so overloaded. There we go. Let's see. Add owner. Where are we at? Seattle. Okay, I think I did that right. There we go. So I've temporarily given this account access to the Streamer development room, and we'll use that for demos here, because again, I don't want to look into those rooms because that's private information. But back to your point, yes, when you set up the admin account for which you already have, all the rooms that you have associated with your district, so you may have 2,000 of them, would be shown in the lobby for the admin account. Now, when a student logs in, they're only going to see their room, or when a teacher logs in, they're only going to see the rooms that they have access to. They're not going to be able to see all the rooms. So I'm going to jump into this room here. And the way I entered that room is I just clicked on it. So when the lobby will show you your rooms, to enter one, you're going to see the number of the room. So this is number 1, and then you'll see a label on that room. And so this is just like a room in a school building where you might have room 101 and 102. And then on the door, you could have Ms. Peterson, 7th grade English or something like that. You can set this label for the given room. And then you just click on the development room, and in this case, the Streamer development room, and you are entered the room. And at this point now, I click the microphone, and whatever I'm saying will be captioned. So that's what it takes in order to start captioning. You're logging into the website. There is no installs or downloads or anything like that. You have a password protected account in order to log in. Let me show you a few features here real quick. So I'm going to turn off my microphone just because I think it's a little distracting. But if I want to, I can come up here to the Chrome settings and zoom in on the website. And that's going to increase the font size. So if you have a student that has some vision issues, or they just prefer to have it larger font size, that's how they do that. They just zoom in on the web page. Over on the side here, what you're going to see is room owners. So right now we have 2 owners in this particular room. And then you have the users. So a room owner, since we're using Zoom, you could think of that as being the host, if you will. So the room owner has all the permissions for the room. They can clear the text, they can download the text, that sort of thing. Whereas a guest may or may not have those permissions. So you can limit the number of permissions that a particular individual has. As we scroll down this side panel here, you're going to see some more items here, the phrases. And there's 3 ways in which phrases can be used. For a student, by far the most common is that they are going to use that to tag the transcript with notes. So as the teacher is talking, they may be something that they missed. And so if they double click on this don't understand entry, that's going to insert that note directly into that location of the transcript. So later when they download the transcript, they'll be able to see that particular note of where they weren't understanding what was happening. Now the transcript is going to be able to be seen by anybody that has access to the room, whereas those notes are private. Only the student is going to see the notes. So you as a teacher would not see the notes that they are entering, nor would other students see notes that another student has entered. Again, those are private. So again, to enter a note, you just double click and that gets entered directly into it. We also have the ability to modify a note. And so if I just single click instead of double click, now the student would be able to modify it. So I ask, I don't know, Tom about this item. And so they have that ability. At the end of the, and I'll get into the other 2 uses of phrases in a minute here, but at the end of the class, what most students do is they come up to the download option under streamer settings. So they'll open up that menu, go down to download transcript. And here you have the option to download the last hour, the last day, that sort of thing. You can choose the format. So I prefer docx, which is Word. I also have the ability to include a summary. And so what Streamer is going to do is look through that transcript and use artificial intelligence to try and determine what it thinks are the most important elements of that particular transcript. And you have options here of short, which is just a few sentences, medium, which would be 1 or 2 paragraphs, and long, which is kind of a Cliff Notes version. And so if you have 10 pages of transcript, long is going to condense that to about 3 pages. And so in this case, I'll just go with medium and I'll click on download, and it's going to ask me where to download it. And it's over on the other screen someplace. I've got so many screens open here. But with that, you are able to then save that transcript, and there it is. And I'll save it to the desktop. Just call it today's demo. And so a student would save that to a folder for each class they have. So for math or English or whatever it might be, and then they're going to be able to save that. Let's go ahead and try and find that on my cluttered desktop here. Let's see, where is today's demo? Anybody see it? Let's go find it this way.
Robert, while you're looking at that, how does it determine like what text is important when you're trying to do like a short summary versus medium versus long summary?
Yeah, it's artificial intelligence. We take a guess, and it has to do with nouns versus verbs and repeated themes in a particular document. So yeah, we take a good guess. That's about all we can do. Here it is, and it popped up on my other screen. I've got so much open here. My computer's running a bit slow. But here then is the summary that it generated. And so you can kind of look at that. And here's the transcript. In that transcript, it identifies who is speaking, so the account that was being used. Here you can see the note, and it was color coded. So in that particular case, it was a blue note. I don't understand this item. Down here, I entered some green and red notes. And so that's the transcript that the student can save. Let's go ahead and close out of that, close out of this, and get back to our particular demonstration. Okay. So those are the basics. The student is going to log in using an account. They're only going to be able to access the room which you have assigned to them. They will view this captioning. They will add notes as desired wherever they want. Then they are going to download the transcript. And as the final step, they're going to clear the transcript and go to the next class. And so to clear it, they would just type that /clear or /clear. And then hit return. And when you do that, it is absolutely gone forever. We do not keep archives. We do not have backups. There is no undo command. When you delete your data, it is absolutely gone forever. Okay, any questions so far?
And Robert, I think I asked you this when we were working with our student. You can make hot buttons, right?
Yes, and I was going to, I'll jump into the next two aspects for phrases. So the first is adding notes, and the next one would be, I guess you'd call it hot buttons, and then speech generation.
Okay, yeah, because you had added, I remember asking you this question about that /clear or front/clear,
Yeah.
that some people might not remember that, and you told us how to add a hot button for clear.
Yep.
You could double click that.
Should I do that now? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, and so as I mentioned in the side panel here, you have phrases. I lost my mouse. There it is. You in the phrases area, there's used for 3 different things. And so right now I showed you how to do notes, and what you can also do is create shortcuts or hot buttons for commands that you frequently use. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to click on the account settings up here. Okay. And when I do that, it's going to show me the name of the account that I'm using, the profile, the language that I have and such. I like clicking translate and show flag, so I'm going to do that for you right now. What that means is if somebody were speaking Spanish or Vietnamese or Ukrainian, it's going to be translated for you into your selected language, which right now is US English. Okay. And I'm going to also add a preferred voice here. I'll just use Joanna. And what that means is when you speak English, if somebody is logged in for Ukrainian or Spanish, it's going to use that voice to speak out loud what you're saying in that language. So you could say, hello, how are you? And what would come out in a Spanish account would be, hola, ¿cómo está? And it would be presented in this particular voice that you've selected. Okay, so those are the account settings. The password, right now you have set this set to 123456789. Which makes me really uncomfortable, especially if you have a large system. So I strongly encourage you to select something a little more secure than that, but I'll let you do that. But what I really wanted to get to here is now phrases. So again, what we're at is the account settings, and over here on the side, you see profile, username, password, and phrases. In the top here, I'll just read this to you. Phrases let you personalize your streamer account by adding private notes to the transcript, creating command shortcuts, what I'll show you right now, and having pre-configured speech generation. So this would be for a student who's nonverbal. For more information, you can go to this link, and it's going to give you all the details that you possibly want. But right now, we're going to show you how to create a hot button for the clear command. And whenever I enter a command, I always do that / just so I know it's a command. And then I type the actual command itself. So this is what's going to be showing in the label. And so maybe in this case, I'll just say click to clear the transcript. We can do that. So that's what's going to be showing in the label. And here's the actual command that's going to be executed. So in this case, / clear. I prefer to use black for my commands just because those are going to show up at the top of the list. And let me show you that right now. So I'm going to click add phrase. And when I do that, I'll come back to the streamer window itself. And when I do that, you can see that we've just added this new phrase. So that wasn't there before because we just added it. And because it's the black color, it's going to appear on the top of the list. And so this is the description of it. And when I hover my mouse over it, It shows what the actual command is. And in this case, I'm just going to double click and then it's going to clear the entire transcript. So I'll do that right now. See how that works? Any questions on that? I kind of went over that fairly quickly.
No, that's good. Marissa was just saying that's a dangerous button, as you told me. That's why you don't have it on there, because
That's why we don't have it on there. It's about, I don't know, once a week or so, we get a panic call, usually from a lawyer. It always tends to be lawyers. But somebody has interviewed somebody, what they call that, a deposition or something like that. And they've accidentally cleared the transcript before they saved it. And they want us to get them a copy of that transcript. And we have to tell them, sorry. We do not, again, make any backups or any archives of your data. That would totally go against our privacy policy, and which I'm kind of violating right now because I'm logged in as you, and I could potentially go and look at room 1 and room 2 to see what the students were saying, and we don't want to do that.
So Robert, are there other commands that you hear people ask for frequently, or anything else that you think might be useful to add in there, or that we might want?
Totally. Yeah. And I'm going to add them for you. Let's see. How do I do this? Got to remember how to do this command. I don't do it very often. I take it we set up Seattle-admin a while ago.
I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know if that was with Kim and I about 6 weeks ago, or if that was done earlier than that. I'm not sure.
I think it's been about at least a month.
Trying to find the template command. Yeah, there's a lot of them, and hang on a second. Let me just import them all for you. This is really power user stuff if we get into it, but since you asked the question.
Well, I mean, we don't have to do it now necessarily if we don't have enough time, but
yeah, I can't remember that command now. I'm getting closer though. Hang on.
Is there a user manual that we can get hold of so that we can see a list of commands?
Yes, absolutely. We'll get you
Great.
that too.
Great.
Okay, I'm going to copy this, go to that. Oops. All right. All right, so where is this? It's been a while since I've done this. Clone user, that's what I was looking for. Bingo, here we go. Let's see if this works. Clone user. Phrases. At template dash admin. All right. So let me explain what I just did. You can, this is a very powerful feature, but it's really good for you to know this feature exists. So don't necessarily worry about how you use it. Just give us a call if you want to know how to use it. But what it does is you can create a template of phrases that teachers or your students would use. So customized for Seattle schools. And then you can use that template whenever you create a new student account. And so it will automatically import then all the phrases associated with that account. So what I just did is I used an existing template. And so here's a list of some of the templates that exist. And I use this one in particular, template-admin, and I imported all those phrases into your admin account. So now on the side here, you have all these shortcuts for adding an owner to the room, allowing access, changing the room's label. So right now this is captioning and note-taking. If I wanted to change that to another person's name or something like that, Ms. Johnson. I could do that. So these are all new phrases that you have in your admin account. And these are, you know, by far the complete list of what people would want to use. Okay. So again, just remember that exists, the ability to create a template and use that template as you're creating new student accounts. For the question on user manuals. So the user manual condensed version is up here in the question mark. And so this is going to step you through that. You'll notice as you read through that at times it refers you to other documents. So like in the allow command down here, this gives you the complete power or the complete description of that allow command, where you could allow a user for the next 60 minutes, you know, like an IEP meeting, you would do that, allow a parent to have access for just the next hour, or a student, you know, only access at 9 a.m. on Monday, Thursday, and Friday, something like that. So this is the online manual. And let me go over and get you the printable manual. So some people do like having the ability to print it out, and we're fine with that, of course. And here then is that link for the printable manual. So if you want to copy that, you can. Streamerlink.cc streamer-manual-print version. And so if I go to open that up, you'll see what it looks like. And that's an entire PDF version of what's going on here. By far, people just print out this frequently used commands. So instead of printing out everything, they just print out that one. Okay. So I'm going to show you more features, but let me pause and make sure everybody's up to speed with what we've done so far. We've done quite a bit. Everybody good?
Okay. I don't have personal experience with this, but like, what's the accuracy?
So the accuracy, I can turn it back on here again. You should easily get in the upper 90s in terms of accuracy. And so we have people do it all the time, you know, do audits of what we're saying. And definitely you should get that. Now you're going to have much better accuracy when you're wearing a headset like I am now, or a lapel mic. In a classroom, we certainly want the teacher to be wearing a microphone. And so it could be a wireless headset or a wireless, you know, lapel. That's pretty common. User tip, if you are doing a lapel and you're going to pin it to a collar, if you are right-handed, we want you to pin that lapel to your left collar. And why is that? Because as you're writing on the whiteboard, you may be talking to your class and you're going to turn your head towards the direction of the class. So again, if you're right-handed, we want it on that left collar so it's closer to your mouth versus over here. So that's a little user tip. The other thing with the lapels, you probably heard this one, put your little finger on your mouth or your thumb on your mouth and then be able to touch the lapel mic with your little finger. We want it up somewhere, you know, close to your mouth versus down around your waist area. Okay. But with that, yeah, you should easily get into the upper 90s. Okay.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but could you kind of like, what happens to the text when there's a lot of noise or a teacher mumbles? What does it show up as? Like, does it not show up as anything, or does it have like quotations that says unintelligible? Like, what does it look
No,
like?
we don't have the unintelligible. And so if it's really bad, it's just not going to show up, but it's going to do its best guess at recognizing what you're saying. Kind of associated with that, we do have filters on here, and by definition or by default, the filter is set to strict. So if somebody should say a swear word or something like that, you're going to see asterisks, and you can relax that filter, you know, as desired. The strict filter really is strict, and most churches, for example, use a medium filter versus strict. But you can definitely do that.
Do accents make a difference? A person's accent or how they talk, their prosody, how they articulate? Because I was at a school today looking at the text, trying to see what was going on so we could troubleshoot. And there were periods of time where text wasn't even showing up.
So the microphone is going to make the biggest issue.
Okay.
And so having a microphone that's of high quality will make a difference. If somebody has a pronounced accent, so for example, somebody from India that's speaking English, there's usually a pretty distinct accent associated with that. Ideally, what we would do in that case is set up Streamer to use that particular dialect. So in this particular case, somebody is a native from India. So I'm going to come down here and pick India. I think we have English here. Yeah. And so you would pick that accent for India to use for that particular individual. Lots of different English and Spanish dialects and such that are supported. And so ideally, you would do that in using the system. Okay. One thing you did mention, which is you know, a key element. So enunciation is a big deal. Oh, did I set it to Spanish? It looks like I set everything to Spanish. Okay, let me go back and redo that. Sorry about that. I did. Okay, English. There we go. And now we're back to English again. So what you said is a really key element, though. You do have people that enunciate speech very well. You know, each phoneme is articulate and pronounced well. And then you will have people that use what we call a relaxed speech. And so much more softer on the phonemes and such. Streamer is going to appreciate the articulate individual more than the relaxed individual. And so that will make a difference in speech recognition. We do not care at all how fast people talk. We're very fine with people talking really fast. We're okay with that. But we do, you know, in order to help Streamer, what we do really like is when somebody takes a pause at the end of each sentence. So just a short breath. The magic time that we're looking for is 0.2 of a second. So I hope that makes sense. Especially that's true in translation situations. We really like having that little pause at the end of a sentence. Okay.
Do you have to, depending on the vocabulary, like of the class, like if you have a higher level calc class or physics class or something, is there anything you have to do to ensure that the transcription is more accurate because the vocabulary is not common?
No, we're you know, any vocabulary that you're going to be seeing in a high school or college class, we're going to support very well. The longer the word, the more syllables that are used to construct a word, the easier it is to recognize that word. And so we're going to do fine with scientific terms or anything like that, medical terms. We're going to be absolutely fine with that. A shorter word is much more difficult. There is a tool called Composer where you can add words to your user account. Everybody wants that, but to be honest, very few people use that, especially in a K-12 setting. By far, the words are going to be there in your system.
I have a question about if a classroom is being run more in a Socratic type of way, where it's more than just the teacher being up front talking, it's also discussion between the teacher and the students. How do you allow for those students' comments to be picked up? I know that sometimes even with the mic that the teacher was wearing today, some of the students' comments were picked up, but others were not. Of course, they were much lower of their voice. It wasn't loud enough.
All right, got to get this cat out of here. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, great question. And so student discussions. And so what we really want for student discussions, ideally, we'd probably have a pass-around mic. So a wireless pass-around mic that the students would talk into, and that's gonna by far work the best. You know, you can use a microphone in the center of a table sort of situation, but that means the students have to be quiet and, you know, not rocking on chairs and stuff like that. And that's just not realistic. And so by far what's going to work best is having a pass-around microphone that they would use. I hope that makes sense. Now, in your particular classrooms, do the students have laptops open on their desks?
I think that depends on every school and every class.
So if you're in a situation where a student has a laptop open on their desk, you know, like right now I'm 12 inches away from my laptop, basically, I could use that built-in microphone on my laptop. And so, you know, if I'm close enough to that, that's going to work okay. It's not going to work great, but it's going to work okay. So instead of having a, you know, pass-around mic that the students would use, each student could potentially use their built-in microphone on their laptop to record their particular voice. And that implies, well, it means that each student would have to log into Streamer and be in the Streamer room for that to work. But certainly that is a feasible option. That's used all the time with adults in conference room meetings. You know, you have to judge on the maturity of the students, whether that would work or not. But adults in conference room settings use the built-in microphones on their laptops all the time, and they're sitting around a conference room table. Okay.
Do you have a recommendation for microphones that you recommend for your boom mic, your, what do we call it? The boom mic or the lapel mic, and a pass mic that works best?
Yeah, well, we have ours that we sell. And so I guess we recommend ours, but you don't need to use ours. I mean, I don't want you to think that, you know, ours are the only ones that you can use. More than anything, the reason we offer our microphones is a lot of times we're working in the medical space where people need to purchase a complete system. They need the computer, the microphone, and the software. And so we offer those microphones. Having said that, the nano system on our website, I can show you this, is by far the ones that schools purchase. So I'm going to go to streamer.solutions. So instead of .center, I'm going to streamer.solutions, then I'm going to shop. And that's going to pull up our microphone systems that we have. So microphones and cables. There we go. And this nano system is by far the one that schools order. It comes with your choice of 2 types of microphones. By far, schools tend to order 2 lapel mics. Teachers in general do not like headsets. And here's the wireless pass-around mic. This particular one, here's the transmitter that's about the size of a pack of playing cards. And then the receiver is just a USB thumb drive. So it's very portable for a student to carry that around from class to class. If you are using, you mentioned earlier touch screens, and I wasn't sure if you meant touchscreen mic from Phonak or touchscreen computers.
No,
but
we're using a touchscreen mic from Phonak.
If you're using a touchscreen mic from Phonak, and then you could add a second receiver to your system, which tends to be a mylink or a neck loop, but that's going to connect to the student's computer. If you're going to be using a mylink, we strongly recommend you spend this $5 on the cable. That includes shipping and tax. So we don't make money on this. We actually lose money every time we ship one, but it's fine. But it's just a short little cable with a 2.5 millimeter on one end and a 3.5 on the other. And it just makes life simpler. And the other thing that you may need is a USB digitizer. That's a little more pricey, $37.
So what is that cable for, Robert? I'm sorry, because I think we just plugged in the neck loop into the.
A neck loop would be fine. So with the mylink, what they have is Phonak has kind of a non-standard plug on the mylink. It's a 2.5 millimeter, so it's smaller than normal. And we have people that went out and purchased, you know, at Amazon, you'll find these rigid adapters that convert 2.5 to 3.5. And what happens is the student breaks it off, and now you have a plug stuck in your mylink or your computer, and nobody's happy. And this is a short cable. It's only like 10 inches long. So the student doesn't have to coil it up on their desk or anything like that. It's just nice. And it's only $5.
Got it. But you don't need that with the neck loop.
No, the neck loop has a 3.5, I believe, output. Yeah, if you want, we do sell this little short 3.5 to 3.5 cable that comes in the kit. Again, the idea here is if you went to Best Buy and bought a cable, it would be 3 feet long. And now the student has this coiled mess on their desk, and it's getting in the way, and it's bulky. And so we're just trying to make things easier. And so short and sweet and not very expensive, especially compared to Phonak stuff. Okay. Let me get back to some features because I do want to show you a little bit more of what's going on here. let's see. So right now I'm in this particular room, and if I wanted to send a private message to a student or to another teacher, about an IEP meeting coming up or something like that, all I have to do is click on the name of that individual. So in this case, I'll come over here to the individuals that are in the room, click on that, and then I could say something like, hi, are we set for the meeting, for the IEP meeting? And that's a private message that's going to be sent to that individual. And so nobody else is going to see it, but you do have the ability to do private messaging. If you want to send a private message to our support team, that's tech support, tech-support, and you would just state your question. Can you help me create a new account? And then that is going to get sent to our tech support team, and they'll be able to respond back to you. When you get a response, it's going to be showing up here in your notifications page. So these are the speech bubbles. And so I'm prying a little bit here, but these are 12 notes that have been 12 messages that have been sent to your particular admin account. And most of these are just advertisements from us. Okay. So that's messaging. And then the next thing I wanted to show you, just, some features here, is the ability to share documents. And so if I want to share, I'm going to go back to 100% here. If I want to share a document with the student, all I'm going to do is grab that document. I guess I got one here on Roman history, and I'm just going to drag that into the window. And then I'm going to have a preview and attach it, and then click send. And once I do that, then the student has that in their transcript window. Let me turn off the captioning here again. And so they are going to have a link to be able to download that document. So if, for example, you're in an IEP meeting again, and you wanted to share a document with the parent, all you do is drag and drop it, or a student assignment or something like that. I also have the ability to attach documents using the up arrow, and that's going to ask me where on my computer to have it, but I kind of like the drag and drop feature a bit better. Okay. All right. The next thing I was going to show you how to do is, well, let me show you languages first. So right now we're in Streamer Development Team, and I'll show you this real quick because I know I logged in to another account. Okay, so this one's set for Ukrainian, I think. So I'm going to allow at guest dash Ukrainian. Oops, I spelled that wrong, I'm sure. There we go. And so we're starting to get a lot of requests for Ukrainian, for support of the Ukrainian language. So at least I wanted to show you this. So I'm going to come up here to Streamer Development Team. And what you're seeing now is everything that I'm saying in English is going to be captioned in my main account. And do you see over here how that gets converted over to Ukrainian?
Yeah.
And so if I had another student that spoke Spanish, they could be logged in and viewing it in Spanish. And a third could be logged in and viewing it in Korean or Vietnamese or whatever. And when they respond back in their language, so if this person spoke Ukrainian, that would now get translated into English and into Spanish and into Vietnamese, whatever languages we have. So we're going way beyond bidirectional to support this multilingual synchronized capability. Okay, so again, the way I did that is when I create an account for that individual, I select the language they will be using. And that's then the language in which they're going to see the captions, and if they want to be able to also hear them spoken out loud. Okay, any question on the language translation? I know that's not a big focus of what you're doing right now, but it's nice to know it's there.
Okay, so there's one question here, which I was just thinking too. Let me, so we have a situation where it's a middle school student who's in a Spanish class, and that class is not strictly spoken in Spanish. It's just like Spanglish all the time, right? The teacher is switching between, throws in a couple words in Spanish and then English. What does your software do with that? Or is there a way to set it so it's transcribing it correctly or accurately? Or what would you suggest in that situation?
Yeah, there's two different ways that you can do it. So one is that it takes if we create a hot button to convert the language from English to Spanish, and I can show you how to do that, that would take about 1.5 seconds for Streamer to switch over. And so that's going to give you the best recognition. And so that's going to work fine if they're talking English for, I don't know, 2 minutes, and then they switch over and talk Spanish for 5 minutes, you know, something like that. But if you're really mixing Spanish together, so like see you mañana, you know, where you're really mixing in the Spanish with the English, this is an unadvertised feature, so you're not going to see it anywhere. But with English users, with American English users, we have added the feature so that Streamer automatically detects if you start speaking Spanish, and then it's going to be transcribing in Spanish. And so that's a feature just for English Spanish. That's not going to work for English Ukrainian or something like that. So here I'm talking English. You can see it captioning, and my Spanish is quite poor. But if I start saying something like, hola, ¿cómo está? No entiendo español. Can you see how I converted over there to Spanish? Pretty small text. I'll make this bigger for you.
Yeah.
But right there, it's converted over to Spanish automatically as I started speaking Spanish. And so give it a try, where you can just mix and match Spanish within the English phrases, and it does a pretty good job at converting over. If you want to set a hot button to switch over to Spanish, do you want me to show you how to do that, or is that something a little too advanced at this moment?
Stephanie, do you want to see that? Where you have you set up a hot button. So if the teacher starts talking for a few minutes in Spanish, you can just click that over.
I'll do it. It'll go quick.
Okay.
So I'm going to create a hot button over here to do that. So I'm going to go over to my phrases button. And so I open up a new tab, go to phrases, and I just always like that little slash that tells me that it's a command. Change language to Spanish. So that's going to be my label. And then Spanish, there we go. And the actual command is set lang. And in this case, I'm going to do ES for Spanish, and then I'm going to pick the Mexican dialect, ES Mexico. And again, I use black for most of them, but maybe this time I'll do purple just to have something different. So this is going to change the language to Spanish. And then at the same time, I'm going to have one that says change the language to English. And so that particular command, again, set lang. In this case, I'm going English, and I'm going to go US. And I guess we selected purple for that. So EN-US, the capitalization is important here, where the language is lowercase and then the dialect is uppercase. So now when I go back to the phrases on the side here in purple, you're going to see those commands. And if I want to change the language to Spanish, I'm just going to double click on that. It'll refresh. And there we go. So now it is expecting me to be speaking Spanish. So, hola, ¿cómo está? That sort of thing. And now I want to go back to English. So I'm going to come over here and double click on that. And it'll recycle here. And at this point now I'm set back over to English. So about 1 second to 1.5 seconds to switch the languages when you create those hot buttons. Okay. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. So we've gone over quite a bit of features. One thing I have not shown you yet that I really wanted to do, looking at the time here, is to show you how to create a student account and then be able to allow that to have access to one of your rooms. Okay. And so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and sign out of this particular account, this Ukrainian account. And where I'm at is at streamer.center, and I'm going to click on the login button, which is what I typically do to log in. But in this case, I'm going to click on the create one. So we're going to create a new account, and I'm going to create this as, I just got to think of a name here. Stan Bishop. Okay, we'll just do that. The email is only used to reset the password. And so this typically in schools is a IT password or a common or IT email or a common email. It could be the student's email. We're absolutely fine with that. We do not send out spam or anything like that. It's only used to reset it. The country, you could pick that. Notice these little arrows here. I can switch the language. So if I wanted to see all the different dialects of Spanish that we support, here you go. And so if you're setting up a language for an account for a student that spoke Costa Rican Spanish, you would select that. If you leave it blank, it defaults to US English. So in this case, I'm just going to assume it's English Spanish. I'm sorry, US English. The preferred voice is used for a student who's nonverbal as well as speaking aloud translations. And so if I were translating this into Spanish, I would use Matthew. That's somewhat similar to my voice. The password needs to be at least 8 characters or more long. And so you can pick whatever you want. And so I'm going to go ahead and enter that. And again, I'm going to copy this account name just so I make sure I have that and click register. That's going to create the account. And you'll notice that when I create the account, it does not have access to any rooms. And that's because I haven't assigned this account to a particular room yet. So what I would do next as an admin, I would go into the lobby and I would select one of your rooms that hasn't been assigned yet. So Seattle Schools -003 or 408 or whatever it might be. And then you would pick that room that you're going to assign to the student. So in this case, I'm going to pretend that we're going to assign them this streamer development room. So what I would do here then is I would type the allow command and then the @ symbol and then the name of that account that I just created. So again, /allow and then a space and then the name of that account, Stan Bishop. So in this case, now I get the message that Stan Bishop has been allowed into that room. And so if I go back to the student's account, you can see that that student now has access to this particular room. So again, to review, we went out to Streamer. We created the account by clicking on the login button and create one. That's how we created it. And then we went back to our admin account and went into the lobby, selected the room we wanted to assign to them, and clicked and typed that allow command in order to do that. The final thing that I would want to do is change. And so your shortcut, by the way, has that right here. Allow access to the room. That's the shortcut. The other thing that I want to do would change the room's label. So I'll click on that, single click on that, and I would change it to the student's name. So in this case, Stan Bishop. And once I do that, then that is going to be the label in this room. And you can go into the lobby and you'd see Seattle Schools -03 or whatever is now assigned to Stan Bishop. And so that's what it takes to create a new student account and then apply that to a given room. So once you get used to it, it takes about 30 seconds to do that. So it's not a huge task. But if you had, you have 100 and some odd schools, so odds are you have, I don't know, pick a number, 50,000 students. We are more than happy to create all 50,000 accounts for you. So we can create an account for all your staff members and for all your students. It's easy for us to do. What you would do is get us an Excel spreadsheet with some information on it, and we would extract the data from that spreadsheet, and we can create all the accounts with whatever passwords you want and whatever room assignments you want for those particular students. So that would be the district-wide implementation. If you do go district-wide, you have an unlimited number of rooms. So instead of buying individual subscriptions, it's a flat fee for the entire year. There are no additional costs. And Every time you get a new student or a new teacher or something like that, we'll create an account and assign a room for that particular situation. So again, it's all a flat fee. At the beginning of the year, you just pay one fee and you would have an unlimited number of rooms, unlimited number of user accounts. And that's the district-wide option. It's yeah, fairly common. We certainly have districts with 30, 40,000 students in them that have gone that approach, and it seems to work pretty well for them.
How much is that a subscription, Robert?
Well, it's unlimited use, and so I can get you a quote. Do you know how many students are in your district? And that's what we base it on, is the total
Let's
number.
say roughly 50,000.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll have to come back with a price, but it's probably in the order of $20,000 dollars
Per year.
Per year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and with that, you get an unlimited number of rooms and accounts, and we'll create
Sure.
all those accounts for you.
Got it.
And so don't quote me on that. If you do want a quote, I'm happy to get you that.
Yeah, no, not necessary now. We're just curious.
Yeah, so it's between $10,000 to $20,000 to do that, and that would give you unlimited languages as well.
Sure.
And so the honor system is that you will use that just for school purposes, and that includes things like adult education or after school basketball team or something like that. We're very broad on the definition of what school activity means.
Yeah.
Robert, can you show, can you go back into an account? Can you
Yeah.
blow it up as like to a size where a student can easily read it? Like,
Sure, and so lots of different options. So here I've zoomed in on 200%, and so you're able to see it that way. And let's say that we have a student with more vision issues than this. I have the ability to change the layout. So I could say set display dark. And what that's going to do is give me yellow text, bright yellow text on a dark blue background. And let's say, and I can zoom in as much as I want on this. And so I could, really make this big. I can close this side panel. And so now they're seeing it this way. But I also have another option. And so let me show you this since you asked. So I'm going to scroll back out to my 100%, and I'm going to change this back to set display bright. Oops. If I could type, it would help. There we go. Okay, and turn this off and clear everything out. I also have the option here in my streamer settings. There's this thing called overlay tool. And if I launch that, let's see which monitor it comes up on. Here we go. I have the ability with this overlay tool to absolutely set anything that I want. So I can select the font size, the color, the background, including the transparency of the background. I can check the line spacing. So if I want it bigger or smaller, anything like that, I can translate it. But in this case, I'm just going to leave it as it is. And so now when I start captioning, everything that I'm saying is going to appear in this overlay tool. So if, for example, I were watching a video or something, I could collapse the streamer window and I would be able to view this captioning using the overlay tool. And again, they can absolutely set anything that they want. So if, for example, I want yellow text again on a dark blue background, I could do that. And I want to increase the font size to, what should I do, 60. I'm going to make that bigger, save the settings. And at this point now, I probably want to increase that to maybe 4 rows of text or something like that. So complete flexibility as to whatever the student wants in order to view that particular captioning.
And once you set that, does that every time that student goes in there, does that save that setting, or do they have to set it every time?
No,
Okay.
it saves it. And up here, you don't really notice it, but this is a picture of the person who is speaking. And so if you had a team teaching situation, that picture is going to be showing up there. And so, yeah, definitely, it gets back to my original comment. Whatever you want Streamer to do, odds are there's a way to do it. And so, for example, you would have probably never found that set display dark command, but we know it. And so if you come into a situation where you say, oh, I just wish it could do such and such, give us a call, and odds are there's probably a way to do it. The interface that we have with these commands can get confusing, but it's also extremely flexible. And so that's the huge upside of it, is that whatever you want Streamer to do, we can make it do that for you. Okay. So things that we covered, we showed you how to log into Streamer using streamer.center using a Chrome browser. We showed you the lobby. And again, in that lobby with your admin account, you would see all the rooms in the entire district. We can create duplicates of the admin account. We can create sub-levels of the admin. So each particular high school would have their own individual admin account where they would just see rooms associated with their high school. When a teacher or a student logs in, they are just going to see the rooms that they have access to. They're not going to see everybody else's rooms. They're only going to be able to see theirs. The way you enter the room is click on it. When you do that, turn on the microphone, and now everything that you're saying is going to be captioned. And that's true whether Streamer is visible or not. I can collapse the window and it's still happily running in the background. So if I'm a teacher, I do not have to have it always visible in the foreground. It will happily caption everything, even though it's hidden from view. At the end of or during the class period, the student with this side panel is going to be able to add personal notes to the captioning wherever they want, and that's going to get inserted into it. And then at the end of the class period, they're going to download the transcript. If they want a summary, they can attach that, and then they're going to clear the transcript. In this particular case, you have a shortcut, so I'll just use the shortcut. There it is, clear the transcript. I'll just double click. And then they're going to be ready for the next class period and do the same thing. Okay. I also showed you how to create a new account and how to use the allow command in order to give that student permission to access a particular room, and then how to change the room's label using this topic command so that it then has the student's name. In this pretend case, I just use Stan Bishop. All right, any other questions? We covered a lot of material there.
Yeah, that was helpful to get us started.
Okay.
Robert. And that gives us an idea of how it works and the functionality and the possibilities of what we can do with it.
Yeah, and with that, let me just jump to the last slide in this entire presentation that you didn't see. I can go over this real quick. You know, some of the new features. I know we're at our hour here, but the overlay translation does exist now. Grouping, just so that you know these things exist. But a grouping feature now allows you to take all the students in a particular class and be able to group them. So now you can allow the group to have access or unallow them. And so kind of a nice feature. The time of day now is part of the allow. Messaging, we talked about that. Broadcast, so as a school district, if you wanted to send out a message to everybody in Streamer, you have that feature. And here are some handouts. So we talked about the Streamer manual print version, this one down here, but there's also the quick start guide and a one-page overview. I can get you a copy of these slides, even though we didn't go over them. I can get you a copy of these. Various tutorials to get you started. So in particular, the click to caption, there's 3 videos there, one for admin, one for teachers, and one for students. And those are kind of nice. I think those are nice. But here's the real slide I wanted to get to. And so if you ever run into an issue, don't get frustrated. Just let us know. And you can give us a call, send us an email, or send a Streamer message, and we'll get back to you with the answers. Okay, so I think we've gone about 7 minutes over, so I apologize for that.
Thank you, Robert, for your time. We appreciate you agreeing to meet with us.
Okay, any other questions?
No.
Okay, so
I think we're good.
I'll send you a copy of these slides. And again, we didn't look at the vast majority, but I'll send you a copy of the slides just so you have them. And I can send you a quote based on the 50,000 students. I guess I'll put that together. and get you a quote for the district wide. Anything else that you'd like from me?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank
Yep.
you, Robert. Have a good day.
Yep. Bye now.
Bye.